Hey up, me ducks. Oh, it looks very dark, doesn't it? I might have to put a big light on. How are we all doing? Have we all got a cuppa? Oh, look at that. I've got a nice cup of Lady Grey. Just in a mood for some Lady Grey. That fragrant, zingy, nice taste for a cup of tea. It's one of those cup of teas where you take a sip and you go, ah, just really lovely. So many people here. I was just getting ready to hit the countdown button and I saw the chat scrolling. So before it gets too busy, let's do the hellos to everybody. I've got to scroll back quite a way. David was the first one in tonight. Nice to see you, David. 17:52. So that was an hour and 10 minutes ago. Wow. And he's off to the shop to get a bottle of wine. Oh, I wish I could have a wine. Then Caroline's here. Hi, Caroline. And Kat, hello. Snowy day in Ohio. Chris is here. Hi, Chris. And Cecilia. Hi, Cecilia. And then we've got Sandra. Hi, Sandra. We've got Golden. Nice to see you. We have Creative Intentions. Jamie's here. Hi, Jamie. And Angie and Sarah. We have Susan and Kim. Hello, Kim. We have Kate. I haven't been here for a while. It's nice to see you here. I think I'm going to have to put a light on. It's very dark on camera. Justin's here. Hi, Justin. And Dawn. I don't want to miss anybody out. Railway Cat. Ramon. Hi, Ramon. Patrice, the lovely Patrice is here. Nice to see you. And we have Suzanne, Nancy, Forever We're After. We have Trisha. Did I say you, Trisha? Susanna. Raven Song. We have Petra and Lily Rose. Kindra. Robin. Hi, Robin. I was going to, you popped into my thoughts earlier today. I was going to send you a message, but then I got a call from a friend in town because I've not seen a video from you for a while. And I hoped you was well. So I thought I must send Robin a message. So it's nice to see you here. We have Jumping Spider. How are you doing? How are you doing? Saskia, Rachel, Trinity. Nice to see you. Trinity Rain. Long time no see. Have you changed your name? Was you somebody else before? Care Bear. Enjoyed your Oracle review earlier today. Yeah, that was of the this deck, wasn't it? The Cosmic Pearl Oracle. Yeah, it's a beautiful deck. Cuppa of Chilean Red. Oh, that sounds nice. Patsy. Hello, Patsy. We've got Ferris, Starry-Eyed Hermit, studying Arthur. God, I can't get my words out. Arthurian Tarot. Brilliant deck. Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie. Love to see you. We've got Shaz. I don't want to say people twice, but I can't remember now where I'm up to. If I've said any of these people before. English Witch in France. Nice to see you. And I think I've caught up. I am going to pop the big light on because I'm very shadowy. So can't have that. That's better, isn't it? That puts a little bit more light on it. So, oh, that was loud. How are we doing? Let me open the chat here, just in case there's anybody in from Facebook land. I obviously missed. I missed the first part. That's a no then. I can't see Facebook comments on here, so I have to open it up on on here, but it's a different screen to where you do your countdown and where all your banners are. So let's see what was said first. I can't even see the comment before it. That's a no then. I don't know what the comment was. But if you want to type it again, that's a no then. That's probably, can you see me? No, I can't see a Facebook comment before that. So, oh, and Tony's here. Hi, Tony. Nice to see you. Oh, here we go. Am I the first in here? You might be the first one in the Facebook group, the Hermit's Cave Facebook group. And I'm assuming it's Tony because people are already saying, hi, Tony. Oh, I know they're saying Tony to Antoinette, Tony. Because it's Tony with an I. Oh, dear. Anyway. Yeah, so how's everybody's weekend going? Are we all... it's throwing it down here now. So, and it's gone very dark and quite cold. So I've got a jumper on. And like I said, I've got my big mug of steaming tea. Have we all got a drink? Are we all settled down? Oh, no more snow. Yeah, we had a little bit. Well, we never had it in Nottingham actually, but a couple of weeks ago we had some snow up where I worked, and it was quite treacherous driving back. But so far we've escaped it in Nottingham. We haven't had any yet this winter, and I doubt we will now. Although we have had it in March before, years ago, but not these days. Rainy here in the Shires, says David. Lots of SpongeBob on the telly with my nephew here. Oh, Starry Eyed's got some Earl Grey. I'll take your Earl Grey and I'll raise it with a Lady Grey. My weekend has been pretty lovely. Took my girlfriend on a little date and then came home and played some Hollow Knight. Is that a game? Hollow Knight? But that's nice that you and your girlfriend got to have a date together. So that, yeah, that's nice. Stephanie says, Hermit's Cave, we went to the Lake District for my husband's birthday. Back home now, the weather is pretty much the same. Oh, that's a shame. Lake District's beautiful, isn't it? I only saw it as I drove past to go to Scotland a few years ago. But my sister used to go to the Lake District every October. No snow this winter in South Carolina. It's been bad in Montreal. Oh, it hasn't been too bad in Montreal, sorry. So, yeah, it's a game. And oh my God, wait, Lady Grey is what I'm actually drinking. How could I forget? Oh, wow, you've got Lady Grey too. It's lovely, isn't it? I've got Earl Grey in the cupboard, but Lady Grey is really... It just hits that spot. It's really nice. Patsy's been busy. Mum's looking after her back home now, tired, has no sleep at hers last night. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And it especially when you're looking after somebody and you don't get sleep yourself, it's yeah, it's not good. It's not good, is it? So what have I got to show you? So let me grab just 1 second. So I did a trade this week with Amun. So if you're, I won't use his real name, but he goes by the name Amun, and is in the Hermit's Cave. So he put a picture on, I think it was this morning. I'd got 2 copies of the Artisan Tarot Dodal, Jean Dodal. and he was after a artisan tarot deck. And so we did a bit, excuse me, we did a bit of a trade, which I've not done for a while. I'm just trying to get the chat back open now, and it's not playing ball. There we go. And I've not really seen much of this deck. Now, Deb's managed to link her name to the Facebook groups. That's good. So hi, Deb. I think it's probably just you and Tony in the Facebook group at the moment. I'm not sure, but people watch, but they don't always comment on the Facebook group because you have to link your accounts up somehow. But yeah, so this deck, if you're perhaps like historic decks, or you might like Pip or Marseille decks, this technically isn't a Marseille deck, although it's very, very similar. And the title is really misleading because the deck that I'm talking about is Angel Tarot. Now, when you hear Angel Tarot, what's the first thing you think? You think it's going to be a deck of angels, and it's not. It's called Angel Tarot because it's by Angel Playing Cards. And this deck, this version, there's two versions, two different backs. This is the one with the plaid back, which I really like. It's from 1980, and it was made in Japan for US games back in 1980. Justin said that's one of my favorites. Whoops. Hi, Linda. Yeah, I wondered if you'd know it. I really like it. I like the fact that yellow is the primary color on these cards, and it's very the line work is really nice. It's quite sharp. This is the back, and then there's a sticker here where it was sold in Sussex, but you'll see here it says made in Japan, expressly for US Game Systems, New York. It says complete with illustrations, but this one doesn't have illustrations, but that's absolutely fine. The box is a little bit, as you'd imagine, for a deck that's 44 years old. Oh gosh, how can 1980 be 44 years ago? Gosh, 1980. I remember it like yesterday. Yeah, so the box is a little bit, but I like that. I like it when there's a deck that's old and the box is all falling to bits. These are the backs, and again, I really like the fact that the primary color is yellow. There's lots, yellow and reds is probably the two, but yellow is the predominant color. There are splashes of blue in it as well. Yes, Fool's Apprentice. 1980 feels like yesterday. I can't remember if it was 1980. I remember I went on holiday with my sister. Yeah, it would be because she had her son in 1980. She was pregnant. She was an older sister. I was 9. And we went on, just me and her went on holiday with some neighbors. And there was a huge falling out between the two of them. And we left. We're supposed to be going for 2 weeks. And we left after a week. And my parents were frantic because we came back on the train on our own. She was a rebel. And I can remember the soundtrack to that year, Poison Ivy, Funky Town. They were all the hits of 1980. Yeah, and that was just around, it was about 1981, 82, I started getting into music with the post-punk era, like Toya Wilcox, Adam and the Ants, Hazel O'Connor. That was my sort of like awakening to music. But yeah, 44 years ago. Rock Lobster, B-52s, double A side with Planet Claire. And I think, wasn't this the double-sided single of Rock Lobster and Planet Claire by B-52s, wasn't the vinyl pink rather than black vinyl? I might have had like I don't even know if I had that or it was one of my sisters who had it. Probably would be in 1980. It would be one of my sisters. I love Funky Town. Hello, Calla. Yeah, I love Funky Town. Anyway, they're a little bit smaller. They're kind of a little bit bigger than Fourier, I think. But I'll do a comparison. So that's the size difference with a standard tarot size. And this is from a, kind of a brush, blue box deck. Where are we? That's King of Pentacles. So yeah, so this is really nice, and I'm really glad to have got this in an exchange. And Amun had 2 copies, and he had the one with, it's like, I don't know, there's 2 faces in it going in opposite directions so that it's reversible. It almost looks 3D. I mean, they are cool backs, but I really like a plaid back. Oh, not the camera. Clearly, I like a plaid back. I had to run and check. That's an expensive little deck. I like the size. My hand's small. What's an expensive little deck? ELO. Who's on about ELO? Mr. Blue Sky. Was that 1980? Hey there, Mr. Blue. Yeah, I love that song. I love the intro to that song as well. That's a fantastic intro. B-52s as in Love Shack. Yeah, but a few years before Love Shack. Wasn't Love Shack like 1987, 1988? I think. Can you hear the sirens? It's always the case, isn't it? Yeah, there was something going off today. There was, if Tony's still in the Hermit's Cave Facebook group, he messaged me to say, oh, I'm popping into town. Do you want to meet for a coffee? That was this afternoon. And then I was frightened to go out because there were helicopters flying overhead. And when you're on the top floor of a 19-story building, the penthouse, helicopters flying above are quite loud. And I was like, well, something's going on. And I said, what are the helicopters about? Do you know, being as you're down there in the city? And he said, I think it's just because the football's on. But then there was somebody screaming at the top of their voice, which going on from it. It was like somebody was being, murdered or something by the screaming. And I sent a message saying, don't come down. It sounds chaos down there. And when we came down, there was police cars parked outside directly down. So something was going on. Born in 1992. You spring chicken. I was 21 in 1992. I turned 22 at the end of that year. Gosh. Anyway, let's have a look at these lovely cards. So as I mentioned, you can see it's really nice, clean line work. These cards are in mint condition, by the way, as well, for to say how old they are. But you see how the yellow tones, that looks quite green on camera. I can show you not. But the yellow tones are like the primary color with splashes of other colors like oranges and reds. And the pips are beautiful. And this is why you'll see, because of the arrangement, it's not a Marseille deck in the sense of the word of the configuration of the I was 88. 88 was the year I celebrated my 18th birthday. That was an event. And it reminds me of what was it called? If Justin's still in the chat, he'll know. I never did manage to get a copy. It's an RWS deck where it's like all yellow images, or there was one that was orange. There was orange colors. See, that's got quite a lot of colors, like blues and reds. Yeah, just I really like it. I mean, even the death card, look. I love watching you, Simon. Oh, thank you, Astro. You are seriously one of my top hits. Oh, that's really nice. Thank you very much. I find your collection. Yeah, I struggle sometimes when I'm trying to find a deck. Look at that devil. I mean, look. Cute. You won't feel very intimidated, or you won't find him menacing, would you? So I really like the simplicity of the color palette. Hello, Janine. Yeah, the devil looks devilishly cute. What a cute devil, yeah. Worldwide Pebble. Looks like my angel tarot. This is the angel tarot. I'm watching from beautiful Tel Aviv, Israel. Wow. This deck is €79 on Vinted France. Is that a good price? What's €79 in? I'll have to convert it. Alexa, what is €79 in sterling?
€79 is about £67.56.
£67. Not bad for a deck that's 44 years old. What was that? Unsurprisingly, that devil looks just like you. I need to have another look. Does it? That looks like me. I'd call this a Marseille deck. I mean, it's technically not. Yeah, exactly. There would be tarot purists out there, wouldn't there, Justin? If I was to sit here and say this is a Marseille deck, you guarantee I'd be pulled up for it. So, but anyway, the pips in particular, and I know people struggle with pips. I don't struggle with them. I quite like them. Obviously, my preferred tarot tradition is RWS, but I do like a nice pip deck sometimes. I find them quite freeing to read. But these are really beautiful. So we started with the cups, of course. Just, Chris. Simon's order. Somebody was trying to turn that into a hashtag in Chris's live the other night. I can't remember who it was now. Might have been Tony. I don't know. And these are really pretty. Got hearts in the middle. De Lawrence, that's it. The De Lawrence. Yeah. How is the card? The cardstock is really nice, actually. It's that silky, smooth finish. It's quite durable. It's quite nice. It doesn't have that soft papery feel of a deck 10 years before. But yeah. Isn't it pretty? Very nice colouring. Yeah, it's quite subtle, isn't it? Hello, Face. I like to see pips as the different patterns spark different thoughts. That was the deck. I may have misspelled. I knew exactly what it meant. I just needed that prompt. I knew it was D something, but yeah, De Lawrence. Oh, one day I'll get one of them. I don't know how to turn them off. I put remind on notifications on eBay, and I still, to this day, get a notification. Someone has just listed a hoi polloi. I've had that for about 6 years now, but I don't know how to turn them off. These are pretty for pips. Yeah, and again, what I like as well is when it comes to the courts, you get the playing card association as well. So here for the page of cups, you'll see in the top corner there's a heart. I mean, technically you could say that's all the way through, but it's not, because some of the arrangement on those cups didn't have the heart, but lots did. So here you've got the batons or wands, whichever you want to, but you see here as well, we've got the clubs. And then in the center, I mean, look how pretty that is with the pinks and the yellows, and then that purple club in the center. I think they're really nice, but you'll see they're not arranged in the same way as Marseille. Why did they do playing card symbols, I wonder? Must be a Japanese tradition. Yeah, but I think also it's because this Angel, the company Angel, made playing cards, didn't they? Because I know I've not got the little book, but I remember doing some research into it, and it's the playing card, Angel Playing Card Company. So I think that's probably why, because that's what they're known for. I'll go a bit quicker because pips are just a continuation in number, aren't they? So, but really nice. And then we have page. They stand out a lot more on the courts. And again, you could take out the minors and just have your 3 court cards, and then you've got a playing card deck as well. I believe that was the first tarot deck created in Japan. Really? The first tarot deck? When was oh gosh, what's it called? J.K. Waite. When was J.K. Waite created in Japan? And then of course there's the Keishibo. I'm not sure when that was either. And then we have our beautiful swords. Now these are stunning. And you can see here we've got the spade symbol. But you'll see the swords aren't curved like in a more traditional Marseille. But I do like the arrangements. I think they're really nice. What year were those? Was in Keisha? But that's what I was wondering, Robin. I mean, I don't know if this is the second edition, 1980. Somebody'd have to have a look, because Amun, who sent this, has got the other version. But those backs look more modern than kind of like a plaid back. So, but this one is 1980. J.K. Waite was 1975. I thought that was 70s, yeah. Maybe it was the first Marseille. Yeah, it could be. And then we have quite a bit of red in the courts for the swords. Justin, you said you've got this. What do yours have, the same backs, or do yours have the angel backs? And then we have our beautiful coins, which is the diamond suit, the earth suit. Yeah, so here, as you'll see, it says manufactured by Angel Playing Cards in this lime green. Gorgeous. I love it. Really love it. I got a copy for $60, volume 2. They're on Kindle. I'm seeing 36. What's that? What's that? Liz, the thumbs up number you're seeing is probably wrong. It always is, I think. Oh, yeah, it depends. It'll only show you the number of thumbs up when you came into the chat, I believe. So as far as pip deck goes, I think this is one of my favorites. I just think it's so nice. Love the color palette. Love the card stock, the size. I mean, look at her. Oh, beautiful. And there's not a blemish or mark on these cards. So whoever owned them previously has really looked after them. Yeah, so Angel Tarot, but not the Angel Tarot. Not a dumb question. No questions are dumb. I don't know what was asked, but no questions are dumb here. We try and answer all questions if we can. Yeah, and that's how we all learn, isn't it? By asking questions. So please feel free to ask anything you want. Very clean images and pips. The people look quite happy. Yeah, it's got a good energy, good feel to it. But yeah, and it's you know, I do like historic wood blocks, patchy type artwork. It takes you back, doesn't it? But also I quite like fresh, clean images as well. I think that's why I like Robert M. Place decks so much. I love the sharpness and the crispness of those images. My very first deck I bought over 40 years ago was a deck very similar to this. I didn't find out until years later it was a Marseille. Wasn't one JJ, was it, Linda? Mine is 1980, Simon. Same backs as yours. Cool. That is such a cute deck. The only Marseille-based deck I have is the Marshmallow Tarot. There's a classic, a modern classic. Care Bear, hello. What kind of readings do you like to use Marseille style for? Any, really. I wouldn't say I go to Marseille for a particular type of reading. But any, like I've said many times before, it's just, I love RWS because it's so familiar. So I know what I'm getting. Whereas I think now I've got to the point where when I first started to work with pips, my mind automatically tried to envisage its counterpart in the RWS. But then, just kind of following the system of the element and the numerological association, that just gave me a bit of a steer to go with that. So yeah, and sometimes what I used to do, I haven't done it so much now, but very often I would read with RWS in the morning and a Marseille at night, particularly if I'd got like 2 new decks and one was a Marseille deck. But yeah, nothing in particular. Robin's K Chabot was 1972. So just as that was the year I was born. Depends on which Marseille deck, Karen, but I find they're good for very practical, down-to-earth questions. Spanish Tarot. Do I have the Spanish Tarot? I think I do. I'd have to check my live bib. I recently got Robert Place's Alchemical Tarot of Marseille. Love his art. Yeah, I like that one. That's the one in the red box, isn't it? My Robert M. Place decks are here. I think that's the one you're referring to. That's about. I love these boxes. I think these are beautiful. My favorite of all of his decks is Sevenfold Mystery. Love it. And I found out today that he's got is it called the First Occult Tarot? I didn't even know. And I'm like, I wish I could get to Watkins' books because they stock Robert M. Place decks. I still want his playing card, Hermes playing card deck. And I really, really want this one. Who was it? It was, let me have a look what I've looked at today. Going back. Yeah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the channel is Crazy Today. And he did a Robert M. Place tarot collection and chat and showed all his, the one in the middle there at the top. Oh, and I've just opened it up. Yes, I think it's Quasita Day. Yeah, and that's a good one to check out if you want to check out videos about Robert M. Place's decks. That's a good one to have a look at. And Quasita means seeker. Day, I think, means like divine, divinity, God type thing. But yeah, cool channel. Just got a couple of videos up at the minute, but just kind of coming into the community, I think. But do check out the videos. Let me get the chat back up. Every time I do that, I struggle to get back in. Here we go, live. I can get to Watkins, Simon. What? En route to come in here? I'm going to London in July. I'd love to hit all the fancy schmancy tarot divination shops. I've only been to two. Watkins a few times, quite a few times. First ever met Kelly Bear in Watkins. And I've been with Sandra, of course, and other friends. But then Sandra took me to not Atlantis. Was it Atlantis? Which shop did you take me to that Robert Crowley? Robert Crowley, that Aleister Crowley used to frequent, and he had an armchair in there. No, not en route, but after, and I could get it for you and send. Atlantis. It was Atlantis. Is that what I said? Atlantis. Oh, I don't know what I'm about now. No, don't worry about it, Sandra. I thought you meant when you start and get to Watkins for you, because Sandra's coming up this week, so that's going to be fun. She's coming up on Thursday. I booked a couple of days off work because we're now going into half term. I know for the most of the country, half term was last week, but Derbyshire holidays, which we follow, even though I live in Nottingham, because our mothership is based in Derbyshire, is this week. So, but I'm going in for a few days. There's a lot to do at the minute, and I've just booked Thursday and Friday off. So Sandra's coming up, and we're going to hang out for a couple of days. Oh, Justin Michael, I'll have to get that Tarot Collectibles. Tarot Collectibles, they're a brilliant company. Watkins books you can order online. They have a web shop. Yeah, but do you know, every time I've gone onto Watkins web shop, I can never find the decks that I want, even though I know they've got them in. I don't think they list everything, because one of the Somnias, I think it was the book I wanted to get, because they offered me the book in the shop, but the deck was quite pricey. So I declined it, and then I thought, oh, I'll get it, and it wasn't listed. So I'm not quite sure. I don't have a translate button as to what you're saying or trying to say. Hide the mead, Simon. Hide the mead. Oh, Sandra come in. Yeah, she likes it for breakfast, doesn't she? Simon, are you in the Facebook group? Are you on the Facebook group? Which Facebook group? Or do you mean, am I broadcasting now on the Facebook group? So I'm streaming to my YouTube channel and the Hermit's Cave Facebook group, if that's what you mean. Hello, Tamaya. Nice to see you. How are you doing? Simon. Yeah, I've got no mead in. It's okay. I drank it at Christmas. So, yeah, we're safe, Calla. It's raining so heavy now. It's quite a comforting sound, but the rain is, I can hear it against the window panes. That's a lovely sound, isn't it? I think I'm regressing as I'm getting older as well, because I'm finding certain sounds really comforting. And for the longest time, this is going to sound really sad, but for the longest time, I've really wanted a ticking clock in the bedroom, because when I was a kid, and I've shared this before, I had lots of weird stuff happen when I was a kid, and I had night terrors and all sorts happen. In fact, when I was interviewed on Lavender Moon's channel about my childhood experiences, so do check it out on Lavender Moon's. But when I would have night terrors, and I don't just mean nightmares, I mean absolute terror. It was quite traumatic up until until we left that house when I was 6. Things would get that bad in the night, that would be hysterical. My mum and dad would let me get in between them and their bed. And they had this clock, this ticking clock. And because obviously I'd gone from that traumatic experience into the safety of being, kind of in between your parents and you feel safe, that ticking clock sound is very comforting and very soothing. And up until quite recently, I always listened to certain pieces of music to go to sleep to. The silence I can't cope with when I go to bed. Silence doesn't happen unless I'm really dragging myself to bed because I'm so tired. But having a ticking clock, I just find, here's the sirens again. I just find really comforting. Can you buy a ticking clock nowadays? And even if you go to somewhere like Amazon or whatever, and you put in a ticking clock, all it comes up is silent clocks, non-ticking. And I'm like, why do people want non-ticking clocks? Anyway, the longest time ago, I bought a clock for the kitchen, just a kitchen clock from like Poundland. It was so cheap. And then I got the one that I have, which is my tarot clock with all the different tarot cards that I cut out and put in these circles around the clock. So it sat in a cupboard for ages, and I thought, what if that ticks? I can't remember. So I got a battery and put it in, and it's got the most loveliest ticking sound. So that's just above my bed now, above the headboard, because that ticking is really comforting to get to sleep to. Why am I telling you this? Why are we on about ticking clocks? What did I read? Why are we on about ticking clocks? Oh, because of the rain on the window. I was saying that as well. There's something about laying in the dark with either thunder outside or heavy rain, but rain against the window pane. I love it. Love it. You were talking about the sound of rain. Thank you, Trinity Rain. I'm glad somebody has been able to keep me on track with my ADD brain. Let's see if there's any comments before we move on. I got up to "Are you in the Facebook group?" didn't I? And hide the mead. Simon, are you on the top floor? Do you hear the rain on the roof? I am on the top floor, but no, you don't hear the rain on the roof because these buildings are just so solid. And there's a good, I don't know how much, probably about that much space between the top of my ceiling and the roof of the building, I think. So no, you don't. You just hear it against the window. In the USA, you can get wind-up clocks that have a ticking sound. Yes, Calla, I have. I've tried charity shops. I've gone round quite a few. You could get, you know, the little fold-away clocks that go into like a little purse shape, and you open them up, and those ones. But they can be quite loud. Oh, there's no please in him, is there? But they can be quite loud, and I like the soft ticking. And I just think that's so comforting. My husband has a watch that he has to wind up every so often. I like that. Yeah, I get that. Can't listen to music overnight as it wakes me up. Well, I tend to fall asleep to it and then I wake up because it's gone on something else. So I end up turning it off. I find ticking clocks really relaxing. I don't like snoring though. Kate likes the sound of rain. And then Linda says, we moved from Chicago last year to a more rural area. I love the sound of the trains at night. Give me all the feelings. My daughter and husband want to rip their ears off though. Yeah, well, when my mum remarried, we moved to his house with his children, and they had quite a long back garden, and at the bottom of the back garden was a railway line. But the first time I ever stayed there, I shot up in bed because the intercities would fly past and the whole of the house would shake from the foundations of an intercity going past at 125 miles an hour. And especially when it does the as it goes past, then you see all the lights from the carriages flashing in the bedroom windows. Like, oh my God, I'm never going to get used to this. Could you go on the roof, Simon? So there is a roof, a little bit, on the 15th story. It juts out a bit and you can stand there. There's a balcony. But then we have got a roof garden, but it's at the bottom of the apartment block, but on top of the shopping centre. So it's still a roof garden and it's quite private. It's not a big one, but it's all right. Sandra, did we go down to the roof garden when you came here last? I think we did. Anyone in the UK, if you are near a house of books, not heard of them, they have great prices on decks. Even small stores have a few decks. Found a ticking wall clock on Etsy made out of old Queen vinyl. Oh, Alistair, that's amazing. I don't think we have any clocks in my house. We rely on our phones. You millennials. I think actually, Chris, you're classed as Generation Y, 1988. I'm Generation X, which is 1969 to 1980. I love being Generation X. In my opinion, it's the best generation. Even the sound of it, Generation X, it just sounds cool. Who wants to be Generation Y? Simon, can a link be added to Lavender Moon channel, please? It can. Just bear with me. Okay, so why isn't it coming up? Did they change their chat? Ah, there it is. Right. So how do I share that? Do I just go? I go here, don't I? Of course, copy. Bear with. Control V. There we go. It's in the chat. Extra points for the green vinyl. Yeah. I've not heard of House of Books. No, I haven't. It sounds cool. House of Books. I'm generation just old, says Linda. Did they not start categorizing it then? Generation X rocks. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Kendra. What? How does it go? We rock. Generation X. I'm a generation older than dirt. I remember Generation X, great band. House of Books were in West Hampstead, Crouch Road, and Muswell Hill. Oh, speaking of stuff from the past, I pre-ordered the new Taylor Swift album on vinyl, and they had the option of ordering a cassette tape. Our cassette tape's coming back. Do you know what I want to come back? Video cassettes. Because I've got at least 10 VHS cassettes of camcorder recordings from like 1990 to about 2003. Yeah, and there's loads of stuff, and my mum and my grandma that, you know, I'd love to watch again. Me and my family was once part of a Channel 4 documentary. I've got that taped. Loads of stuff. Christmas videos. My sister's kids when they were little toddlers. They're now like in the 30s. So, and it's so expensive to get them converted. So I want VHS to come back, so I can buy like a combination TV video in one. Love the background there. 1960. Yes, baby boomers, of course. Post-war baby boomers. Care Bear barely made Generation X. Justin Michael still has a VCR. My mother had all her old video cassettes transferred to DVDs, but it's not the same. I looked at having it done, but for the amount I had, it would have cost a lot of money. What documentary was you in, Simon? So it was a Channel 4 series called Witness. And the episode that we were in was called Mission Impossible. There was no Tom Cruise. Amazon probably sells a basic VHS player. Okay, so the next thing was when I was in Chris's chat on Thursday night, the lovely Care Bear, Karen, I believe you're called, asked me to talk about psychometry and how I, you know, discovered it, how I use it, that sort of thing. I'm not sure if everybody. Oh, hi, Becca. I can't see you, but I can see people saying hello. Hi, Becca. So, hey up me duck. I can't say I'm a diehard fan. Is this Taylor Swift? The world's gone mad for Taylor Swift. I don't quite get it. I can't name a single Taylor Swift song. But anyway, that's by the by. Yes, Simon, you remember. Thank you. Yes, I do. So psychometry. I discovered psychometry back in 2001. So I used to go to a development group, and I've told this story before, and it was run by a lady called Miriam Gifford. Incredible person, really, Miriam. But her and her late husband used to run a traveling show. I want to burst into a Cher song in a minute. And they were called Mr. Gifford's Psychic Fairs. He passed away probably about 20 years ago now. And they were amazing. Mr. Gifford psychic fairs. They were like what you would now call like a New Age fair or mind, body, spirit fair. But you know, where there's like lots of stalls. The first time I walked into a hall full of crystals and readers and healing zones, and I just thought I'd died and gone to heaven. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. First time I had an aura photograph taken was at a Mr. Gifford psychic fair. And then there'll be annex rooms with talks about angels or, you know, well, whatever, backflower remedies and all that kind of stuff. But I would go for both days because I couldn't get enough of them. Just walking in, the energy of the place were amazing. And and that's where I first met Barbara Micklejohn-Free, actually, who's now a deck creator with Flavia Kate Peters. But Barbara was in a group called the Daughters of Gaia, and they was at one and they performed We Are the Witches. And I just, it was amazing. But when I went to this particular one, she was at a place called Elferton, and I went to the psychic fair weekend. I think there was twice a year in this area, but they'll travel around. £250 for VCR player, David. Shake It Off. She sang that, did she? I know that one. I just didn't know it was Taylor Swift. So yeah, when I went there this particular day, I'd been going a few times, and she was sat on the door, on the a table by the door, not on the door, doing admissions, you know. And I gave my money. I think it was something like £5 for the whole weekend, or £3 each day. It wasn't a lot. And as I gave her my money, she touched my hand and she said to me, "You are clairsentient." Well, I'd never heard that word before. And I said, "Am I?" You know, she says, "Yes, you're clairsentient." She says, "You feel things." And she started talking about empaths, and it was fascinating, this chat with her. Anyway, a bit later in the day, I was looking at, they had like a notice board of different things where people would put their business cards for readings and all that sort of thing. There was a sign up saying development circle, and that Miriam was going to be holding a psychic circle. So I signed myself up for it. And she lived here in Nottingham. I wasn't living in Nottingham at the time, but I used to go to this psychic circle, and it was every Friday evening. And that was the first time I ever experienced or practiced psychometry. So the way I would, and this is very layman's terms, but the way I would describe psychometry is that everything is energy. Okay, we are energy. And, you know, if we look at a crystal, so a quartz crystal vibrates at 33,000 times a second. Okay, because everything, atoms, everything is vibrating. And this crystal is less here than it is here, because there's a lot of space in solid matter. Okay, but everything has this vibration, this frequency. And then if something happens, and I watched a YouTube video on this, I can't remember what the scene, but they talked about a place where there was a traumatic event. And you often hear this. Some friends of mine went to Auschwitz, gosh, probably about 10, 15 years ago now. And they really wanted to go, but not to have the focus of their travels on that. So they decided to go on the last day because they knew, you know, that it would be quite impactful. I mean, how could it not be? But people often talk about a place having energy. There's the bongs. I'm all right for time. You wouldn't believe that no windows are open, would you? And that's way down in the city, way down in the square. That's Little John from Robin Hood. They named the bell Little John. So you've got Big Ben in London and Little John in Nottingham. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, as I usually do. Yeah, so there would be an imprint, and it's kind of the same principle that everything, because everything is energy, absorbs kind of the energy of a particular incident or a particular time. And I think if you can accept that, then you can accept the principles of psychometry. And how it was described to me, you know, is sometimes people might pick up somebody's mobile phone or pick up somebody's keys and say, whose are these keys? And you might suddenly think of something or somebody, or, you know, as we move about a day, everything we touch, you know, and all the synapses in our brains that's communicating is all picking up this energy. So I love that, being called Little John. So we did this, and we did it over certain weeks. I got paired up with this girl, and I gave her because they said, bring something with you, an item with you that has a story, to tell. Now, me being me, as you all know me by now, turned up this particular. Have you brought something that tells a story? And I was like, oh shit, I completely forgot I was doing this tonight. But then I looked down at my hand. Now, it's only in the last 2 years I've not worn any jewelry on my fingers. And that's, if you saw me on Facebook, it was around the time my mum was ill 2 years ago. I got my finger trapped in the rubbish chute out here, and my finger swelled, and my granddad's ring I couldn't get off, and my finger went blue. I'd got COVID from my mum, so I couldn't go to the hospital or anything, and it took 2 days to get this ring off. And I said to myself then, I'm never putting things on my fingers again, because I was just so traumatized by it. But I've worn my granddad's wedding ring since he passed away in 1986. Since I'd just turned 16, because he died in the December right before Christmas. So I just said, there you go. And I gave her the ring, and she gave me this locket. And what we was told to do was, before the object was put in our hands, because you really should be ready for the object coming in your hands, and it should be your less dominant hand, because your dominant hand, which mine is my right hand, releases, it pushes out, whereas your less dominant hand is your receptive hand. You bring energy in, to be ready for the object placing in your hand, because you might get an instant sort of flash of something, but it helps. And what we did before was to really get ourselves into that space and do that sort of traffic control of the mind, and be ready and open and receptive, and just kind of clear things away. But her experience was uncanny, because she said, the first thing I see is tracks, like railway tracks. And she said, and there's a really unpleasant energy around that. I just see these tracks. And she said that she saw a huge bunch of keys, like she says, on a ring, loads and loads of keys. And then she said, and I see more recently this going on, this ring going on an aeroplane with somebody else. And I could name everything. So I said, well, during the war, my granddad was a Marine, and then after the war he became a railway detective, and one of his jobs, which he had to leave, eventually went into prison service, but you know, he had to, when people threw themselves under trains and things, he would be on the scene, you know, and it was horrific. And then he became a jailer. You know, he was a prison officer and he worked his way up to principal officer, which would be the jailer's keys. And then at first I was thinking, well, they did travel a lot, you know, and I was trying to think about how to make the plane bit fit. But then it dawned on me. I said, well, hold on a minute. This ring was also my wedding ring, because when I got married, I said to my wife at the time, I want my granddad's wedding ring as my wedding ring. So it didn't fit. So she took it from the UK back to Utah, had it cleaned and you know, kind of what do you call it when they take a bit out? Anyway, they redid it so it would fit my finger. And then when I went over to the States, I was reconnected with it. So yeah, and all I remember about hers on that first time was I saw a christening gown. That was the first thing that came to mind. Very beautiful, but quite old-fashioned, long white christening gown. And I saw a garden that was really beautiful, with loads of flowers and roses and archways. And again, she told me about everything to do with this christening gown, and I just remember thinking, wow, this is incredible. Why doesn't everybody do this? And I just got obsessed with it, practicing psychometry. And I'd say to somebody, let me have something that is, you know, and if it's just something that's quite new, you know, I've had this, what, 3 months. I'm not going to get anything from it. It's come straight from a manufacturer's. Oh, nearly dropped it, it's broke it. But if it's something that's been with somebody for a long period of time and it's got history and it's been attached to somebody with their energy, then yeah, there's that energy there. So I incorporated that into my reading. So when I was doing the psychic parties that I used to do, back in 2004, I used to read with soul cards. I would say to somebody that would come in for a reading, have you got something that I can hold that's precious to you? Maybe something you wear, a watch, a bracelet, a ring, anything. Because I just found that really helped as well. It was like a triangulation of me, that person, by having something of theirs and the cards, you know. It just really helped me to zone in and focus. But try it. It's doesn't require reading up and studying or anything like that to learn it. Just sit with a friend and practice it, but make sure that you're receptive and open to it and pay attention. And the first thing that comes into your mind, go with, because sometimes you think, oh, I'm not going to say that. I think we hold ourselves back sometimes, don't we? I'm not going to say that. That sounds stupid. Or so, yeah. What I would say is it's something that grows strong. Like anything, the more you practice something, the more proficient you become in it. But that's not always the case. And with this, it was very much sort of, wow, I've had something that really worked. So anyway, let's see some comments, because I've neglected the comments. You know what I'm like when I go off on something. So this is where I was up to. Video cassettes. Was it a Mormon documentary? Well, it was the Witness program wasn't about Mormons. It was a different story each week. But this one wasn't necessarily about Mormons. It was called Mission Impossible. And the premise of the show was that at the turn of the last, because it was filmed in 1997. Yeah, 1997. End of. I think it was shown 1998, I think it was televised in the March. It was filmed in October. It was televised in the March. That one was called Mission Impossible because they're saying at the turn of the century, Great Britain was responsible for sending missionaries all over the world. And now it's missionaries that come here. So it was talking about different missionaries. And then, of course, it mentioned the missionary program that the Mormon church had. But in that program, I baptized my mum on TV. And it was the first time ever that the Mormon church had allowed cameras to film a live baptism. So it was a big thing. And we even had one of the 12 apostles from Utah come over for the filming. And the reason why they allowed it to happen is the show wasn't narrated, because what the church was nervous of at the time about allowing cameras in was that the narrator could skew the story. And the producers of the series said, no, the dialogue are the words that people are saying that are part of the program. So it's us talking. So every time, and we did this so many takes in my mum's front room, where they would say, okay, so tell us your name and, you know, who you are, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll go, you know, action. And I'd go, Simon, and they're saying, no, cut. You haven't been asked a question. They won't hear that person. So you'd have to say, hello, my name is Simon. Even though so every time they asked a question, you had to answer it like you weren't answering the question, that you was making a statement. And the way it was filmed and put together was really, really clever, actually. But right, so I just squeaked into Gen X, born in 89. Wow. Marity, you have just got in. Proud. Who's proud? That's my fave Cher song, Simon. Yeah, what Cher song was I? Which one did I quote? Remind me, Chris. And Baby Boomer, 1966. Oh, Kate's answered that as well. Okay, let's see if I'm missing anything. I might have to scroll down a bit faster, because it's not fun for you guys in chat. My debit card was vibrating when I was spending on those crystals today, Sasanj. I love that the bell being called Little John. Care Bear says, Simon, I've been told because of my Taurus moon placement, Taurus moons can have natural gift for psychometry. I'm very particular about antiques, vintage items, make it into my house due to the energy. Yeah, possibly. I do. It's like everything, isn't it? You know, some people are natural at some things and not so much others. I do strongly believe actually, that everybody has some form of ability that's, you know, we only use 10% of our brain, don't we? What's the other 90% doing? And I don't think it's a case that we use less of our brain now. I just think, you know, in time we'll use more of it as we develop. But I do think everybody can tap into things like psychometry. I strongly believe that. I think sometimes people, it's like meditation, right? Meditation is a thing. It's accessible to everybody. But you'll get people that say, oh, I just haven't got the patience for it, or I can't, things keep coming in. It's because it takes practice. First time I meditated, I thought, oh, just so noisy in here. I'm never going to be able to do it. But the more you practice stuff, the easier it becomes. So Marita says, I sent my boyfriend a rose quartz hearts for Valentine's and a low light bowl and Amazonite bear for his birthday. That's lovely. How lovely. Simon, do you remember that crystal that started vibrating while you were doing a live? Must be about 5 years ago. It's where is it? It's that. Oh, I don't think you can see it. It's just where my Gaia is. Then this candle. It's next to the candle, but it's just off shot. It used to be here at the side of me. Yeah, and I was doing a live, and thankfully everybody heard it. And I was like, "What's that vibrating noise?" And it was the quartz crystal. It's quite a big piece. Bought it from Lizzie and gosh, 20 years ago at a Mr. Gifford Psychic Fair. But yeah, it was incredible. Fluorite is a beautiful crystal, yeah. I got blue calcite. I love blue calcite. It's one of my favorites. I don't have as many pieces of blue calcite as I would like, really. I'd love a blue calcite sphere. But they're very expensive. But it's a beautiful, beautiful stone. Where am I? Where am I? It's jumping. Is there a specific deck of soul cards or is it a genre of oracle decks? So the by Deborah Koff Chapin, the soul cards and soul cards 2. I combine them. I do have them separately, but I combine them into one. So, and there's 60 cards in each deck. No numbers, no titles, no keywords, just image, done by touch drawing. I've got a couple of videos. If you look at my playlist and go to Catching Up With, if you go to the ones that say Deborah Koff Chapin, she actually does live demonstrations on the channel of how to do touch drawing. It was lovely having her on. Chill bumps are on my arms with your story. Thank you so much. I took a few notes. Oh, is that about the psychometry? I'd love to see a reading with soul cards. Would you ever consider doing your card pull with soul cards, Simon? Yeah, I would. I would consider doing that. I can't do it tonight because we're starting the new Hermit's Cave card of the week. But yeah, I'd love to see a reading with soul cards. You read with soul cards. And that's something that we both had in common, that I think you had soul cards years ago too and read with them. Hi, Simon and everyone. I'm listening while sanding walls, prepping for paint. Won't be writing, but I'm here. Hello, butterflies. Lovely to see you. Hi, Kay. Nice to see you too. Oh, I thought you were saying we're from Generation Weird. Generation Y, 81 to 96. Yeah. Where am I? Okay. I think I've caught up with comments. So the other thing to mention before I get off then is there's been lots of questions in the Hermit's Cave Facebook group about it. So tomorrow ends the 3 years of doing card of the week, going through from Fool right through to King of Pentacles. So obviously 78 cards is exactly 18 months. And we did a card of the week. We started it 3 years ago next week. And then when we got to the end, people said, can we do it again? And I was like, do we really want to do that again for another 18 months? I did a poll in the Hermit's Cave and the majority said yes, they wanted to do it again. So we decided that we would do it again. And I remember that was in 2022. And I remember thinking, gosh, February 2024 feels like a long way away. And yet here we are 18 months later. So I don't want to do the same thing again because it's going to get boring and people are going to be like, oh my God, you know, we're doing it again, another 18 months of this. But people really like having a card that they can talk about or show. And one of the things that when you do look at as a group admin, the creator of a group, you get lots of well, you get a weekly thing in your box saying this is what's been popular in your group this week, and it's always around card of the week. So and so rather than just going back to the Fool and showing a card and just saying this is my favorite devil card, or this is my favorite Two of Swords, or whatever, every week when I do a Cuppa, I always pull a card and I'll say a few words about that card as kind of like you know, for the collective, here's something that we can perhaps focus on for the week ahead. But what I thought might be nice, being as the Hermit's Cave Facebook group is also a continuation of what we discuss on the channel, is that if I pull a card on a Saturday, we don't have to wait for Monday morning or anything like that. Immediately after this live, people can share their card. So the same card. So if I pulled the Fool, and I say, you know, this is kind of a few things about the Fool, or this is what our message is for the week, you could then share your Fool cards and add your voice to that as well, if that makes sense. So for instance, I'm going to use, for the sake of this activity, I'm going to use a standard RWS. So this one is the Pame. I was going to say Roses and Lilies, but it's not, is it? No, it is. It's the Pame. This is the nice thick deck that Conrad Stain's got on NPC at the minute. I will pull a card each week from an RWS, and then you can select whatever card matches this card from whatever deck you want, but also say something about it, you know. Does that make sense? That's like reading the Bible. What is? That's fun. I'm glad you're bringing it back. Card of the week was great. I'm not subscribed at the moment, though. Well, that doesn't matter, David. You don't, you know, it's just for those who are in the group and want to carry on doing something. Makes perfect sense. Great idea. Cool idea. Great. Good. I'm glad. Because that way we're still kind of sharing cards, but what tag do we use? That's a good point, actually, because we would do, like, this week is King of Pentacles week. How about hashtag card pull and whatever it is? So card pull, hashtag card pull the Fool. If it was the Fool, that watch it be the Fool now. I'm subbed. I'm just mostly lurking. That's all right. And if there's a mod, Chris or Sandra, who's here, if you can put a link for the Hermit's Cave Facebook group into the chat, because if you're here and you want to take part and you're not a member of the group, there's no pressure. It is a lovely group, you know, it's a safe group. Me and the other admins work really hard. Becca's here in the chat, and she's an admin in there. We work really hard to make sure it is a safe space for everybody. We don't tolerate any form of bullying, harassment, or anything like that. It's a nice group. Thank you, Chris. You're welcome to come and join in the fun of, you know, when I pull a card, jump into it. I'm a lurker too on Facebook, just soaking up all the knowledge. Doesn't matter. And, you know, even if you don't want to put a few words and you just want to show a card, it's fine. I just thought it'd be nice just to add your thoughts to it as well. And then we're kind of, because the idea of me pulling a card, and I've done it every year now for the last 6 years, is just something for focus for the week for us. But you add in yours as well. That's lovely. We will keep you safe. And we really do. Thanks, Becca. We all make sure that, you know, it's a nice environment. Yeah, so it's just, I think it'd be really nice for you to, it's very interactive then. I pull a card, share my thoughts, then you add yours to it. All right, are we ready? What will be our first card? What should be King of Pentacles? It could be. The irony, that's the tarot's done that a few times to me in the past. All right. Our first card then is the Nine of Swords. So what would I say about the Nine of Swords? For me, the Nine of Swords is about, you know, I spoke earlier, what was we talking about? And I said about traffic control. The Nine of Swords is about being overburdened by our thoughts, isn't it? You know, the Swords energy, the air energy, the Swords energy is about thoughts, mind, intellect, all that sort of stuff. And this card, the Nine, is that, you know, you see this person in angst during the night, those middle of the nights. Why did I say that? Why did I do this? And regret is such a wasted emotion, such a waste of energy. Instead of having regrets, we should see the things that have happened in the past as life lessons and learn from them. So the past is something we can never change. The future is something we can, not to say we can't control, because we can by what we're doing in the present moment, but all we've got is now. So mourning over the past, regretting over the past, it's so problematic for our overall health and well-being. So get rid of the what ifs, because what if I'd said this? What if I said that? What doesn't matter. That happened, learn from it. And then if it happens again in the future, we know how to react to it. The only way we can do that is that traffic control. You know, when we're feeling overburdened, it's very much about, okay, now I need to just stop. I need to stop. I need to think about this thing that's causing me angst and anxiety and worry and sleepless nights and burden. And I need to just take it, learn the lesson from it, and just think, if that happens again in the future, this is what I'll do differently, and then move on from it as much as you can. Might be able to simplify things. Some things in our past are much bigger than what I'm, you know, saying here. People have to deal with a lot from the past that still kind of impacts us today. But we've only ever got this present moment. And do we want our life to be constantly influenced by the what ifs? Okay, so hashtag card pull, Nine of Swords. If you want to take part, add your Nine of Swords cards. What I do need to say is, if I don't go live on a Saturday, for instance, Sandra's here next week, and I'm not sure where we'll be or what we'll be doing, I will add it still to the YouTube channel under the community page. So I will pull a card what was I saying about blue calcite? And here's a piece in my little tarot pouch. I will still pull a card and add it and say this week's card is. So there will definitely be a card every single Saturday. Okay. Recharge, satisfaction, contemplation. You're talking of the opposites. Yeah, I was like, what? Okay. So that's it. 8:30, bang on. Thanks for being here, everybody. I've had a lovely hour and a half with you all. It's been lovely to see so many of you hanging out. As always, it's been the highlight of my week. Might do some vlogging with Sandra when she's here. We'll see. We're just kind of laying low a bit on this visit, although we are planning to go to Chesterfield and to Curious Goods, so that might be fun. But yeah, have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.